Okay, it's 4 o'clock on Thursday, July 11th. We have a quorum, so I'll call the library board meeting to order. First item is the approval of the agenda, which everyone should have on their screens, hopefully, before them. And so I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
I will second that motion.
I have a motion and a second, and I know there's going to be one change. We're going to move the roofing update up to under the librarian's report first. No, in fact, we'll move that up to before the financial report, so Elwood could present and then get on out of here, and then we'll get into the bulk of the meeting. So that's the only change I know of. There's anything else? Any other changes or additions? All right, then all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Second item is the approval of the minutes from the June 13th, 2019 Library Board meeting, which are printed out here, and hopefully people have had a chance to review them prior to this. So I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion, corrections, edits that anybody knows of? All right, hearing none, then all in favor of approving the June 13th, 2019 Library Board minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. So now we'll get a roofing update. I don't know, Pauline, if you have anything to say as a lead-in, or should we just jump right to Elwood?
Oh, we can jump in till Elwood.
Okay.
All right, so the roofing update for the library roof replacement, which is roughly from the circulation desks going north to the new infill there. We did go out for bids. We got two bids on it, and Sandman Roofing is the winner of the bidding process. I believe it was $36,200 was the cost for the roof, and that's just it's a ballasted roof up there now, and that's what we're going to go with, is just move the ballast off, replace the rubber roofing, and put the ballast back on, and replace any insulation that is damaged or wet. That's what we're looking at now, and it's my understanding now with all the rains that we've had, we haven't been having the roof leaks we had when we had all that snow up there. So this roof was up for replacement. I believe it's on that 20-year lifespan is where we're looking at on that. So
So that's not the entire roof, that's just a section of the roof? Or?
correct. That would be the lower part of the building that you can, the newer building that you can see.
Okay.
So yeah, roughly from the entry doors going to the north to where the new infill between the old and new library is at. So, and there's 3 or 4 mechanical rooftop units up there that they've got to go around in the center section, and the other 2 sections are pretty wide open.
So they'd be taking the old roof off then and putting new on, or just putting over on the new?
They'll be taking the rubber membrane off,
Okay.
moving the ballast, the rock off to the side, and taking the rubber off, checking the insulation, make sure that's still in good shape, and then just putting down new rubber and reinstalling the ballast.
What
Okay.
about the south half? Would that, I mean, is that toward the end of its life? Or is it, or
That
they-
I believe was replaced in maybe 10 years ago.
Okay, so they're different anyway then?
Yes, yep.
Okay,
They're different, yeah.
So then all the leaks that we were experiencing over the winter then are over this section that's gonna be replaced, or?
A lot of them were over there, but there were some up on the upper roof also. And we're thinking because of the heavy snowfall and just the way it blew in and where it was sitting might have been some of the reasons we were having some of the leaks that we were having, because as of now, like I said, been in contact with the custodian, and with all the rain we've been having, we haven't seen any leaks, is my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know. Again, that water can find a hole 10, 20 feet away from where it leaks into the building, and you just don't know where it's at. There's a lot of ductwork on each side of the walls up there from the HVAC units, and they're covered with a kind of better term of a tin roof is covering that and encasing it. So there could be leaks there that we're slowly trying to cover up that tin and stuff, but that needs to be addressed here too, not into distant future. So it's just gonna be an ongoing thing a little bit at a time.
How long are they guaranteed? I mean, after they put them on, a couple years?
15 is what
15?
we're up to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much a standard. If you get into that 20-year warranty, and that's water tightness, you get into that 20-year warranty, then it starts raising the prices quite a bit to get that type of warranty. So that's a watertight warranty on it.
Okay, anything else for Elwood?
When
While
are
you're
they,
here,
yeah, when are they gonna do the work if,
They're supposed to be done the end of October.
okay, before snow?
and
That's-
when do they plan to start?
They're done, end of October, they're done.
Okay.
Like everybody else, they're busy. It,
Depends on weather.
yeah, depends on weather and what they're getting done, but yeah, it was supposed to be end of October is when they're supposed to have it finished up.
Should we
Okay.
call Jerry?
I think you're getting the same answer.
So hopefully it doesn't snow by then.
Yeah. So,
So while you're here then, you want to give us a quick update on the skylight situation?
I did get another bid from one of the local glass people here in town with a different manufacturer of a skylight, and that was about $13,000 higher than what the skylight, the same manufacturer skylight that we've got up there now. So that would put it into the $54,000 range. I've been trying to make contact with the representative for the skylights. So we've got one here at City Hall that needs to get repaired also, and have them come back down and take a look at that skylight and see what our options are. And one of them we're thinking possibly, instead of taking it off and trying to infill it, is leave it there if it's structurally able to hold a piece of rubber over the top of it and just enclose it, encapsulate it that way. And see if that's an option, that if it's structurally
I
sound to
see.
do that. And then maybe we can take care of some of our other issues on the back side of that wall, and that's where all the ductwork and stuff sits, on the back side of that. So, see if we can incorporate those together.
Okay. So when do you think you'll be able to have another update for us on that?
I've been bugging him for the last 2 months, and I've been getting sporadic information back from him at best. So I just keep bugging him and see what I can get back on it.
So do you think that something would still be done within this year's budget, or?
Possibly.
Okay.
I don't think that's gonna cost a whole lot if that's an option to
Right.
do that.
Okay.
If it's gonna be to take off and infill it, then it's something, but we're not experiencing a leak on the skylight. It's just that it's delaminating on the south view of the skylight, is where it's coming into play. The leaks are around the bottom of that structure. So it's not the skylight, it's the ductwork and stuff and coming in around it. So
Okay.
we'll go from there.
We can't just buy a couple cans of that rubber spray foam you see
Well,
on TV?
that's what we're trying on some of this ductwork up there and see if
Really?
that works, yeah.
Okay,
Just for temporary, to see if that's where our leaks and stuff are coming from, to
okay.
kind of rule that out. So,
All right,
all right,
thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll jump back to section 3, the financial report. So
Okay.
Paulina?
Okay, we are 50.14% through 2019, and our budget is approximately 40.57% expended. Some of the remittances that we had this month, including contractual maintenance building bills to Precision Alarm Systems for the annual fire alarm inspection and Riverview. We had some office supplies expenses, which included remittances for toner and for library cards. We also had some computer supplies and equipment, which included a new PC for the maintenance technician's office.
So what was the $71 for review? Was that for the,
Just the regular monthly bill. Yeah.
because I thought one day when I was driving by there, they were replacing the rock in the front, were they?
They are, yes. The mulch that
Yep.
was from River
River.
nursery. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, and it's, so, that's done, the mulch is done, but the trees haven't been planted yet, so.
Okay. All right, so that'll be part of that then, and we'll get invoiced for that.
Yeah, so we haven't been invoiced for that
Okay.
yet.
Okay. So when I first saw Riverview here, I thought maybe
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what
no,
that.
that's, yeah, sanitation, yeah.
All right, so other than that, nothing else out of the ordinary then? I mean, the fact that we're about 10% less
Under.
than where we thought we'd be for this time of year is pretty good.
Yes.
And then the roof repair then that Elwood was talking about, that's gonna come out of the,
The
Sure.
building repair fund, so it won't be from the library's budget.
okay. All right, any other questions then for Paulina on the financial report? All right, if not, then we'll jump into the librarian's report, and we'll start with the department activities report and statistics. Paulina.
Okay, summer reading is going well this year. We have an estimated 609 children registered to date. We have about 45 teens registered. We have several daycares and camps using the library as usual. And one of those camps is participating in the Monday morning story time. We give a great we are especially grateful to Ellie Sweeney and Karen Jensen, who have been watering and tending the garden around the Wanda Gogh statue in front of the library. All the flowers and landscaping look really wonderful. And the library hosted the summer reading kickoff party with about 390 children and teens registered for the reading program on June 10th. We hosted families in the afternoon for games and face painting, and we had several volunteers helping, and we thank them for all of their help that day. In terms of statistics, pretty normal. I was a bit surprised with the jump we had in the door count. We really see a lot of kids in the month of June.
All right, any questions for Paulina then? If not, then we'll jump down into programming. April?
All right. The Film Society has started their next series. They are watching film noir films, and that'll go through December. Their next meeting is on July 9th. It's a Tuesday at it was July 9th at 6 p.m. That was the first in the series, and then they'll continue on with that series through December. On Tuesday, July 23rd at 6:30 p.m., we will host a screening of the Apollo documentary. On Tuesday, July 23rd, we'll host a screening of the documentary Apollo 11, and that will kick off a series that we have with the Sleepy Eye Library, where patrons can also go over there on Saturday, July 20th at 10 a.m. to watch Apollo, Why We Went to the Moon, presented by David Jones. So we're just celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 documentary with Apollo 11 moon landing with those events, excuse me. And then on Friday, August 2nd at 9 p.m., we will have a stargazing party with WCCO meteorologist Mike Lynch, and we'll do that at the MLC athletic fields. So that'll go from 9 to 11 p.m. when it's dark enough for us to start stargazing.
What date was that again?
Friday, August 2nd at 9 p.m. And we want to thank MLC for allowing us to use their space, and also
Awesome.
the Park and Rec Department of the City of New Ulm for helping us plan that program.
So if the weather doesn't cooperate, if it's cloudy, rainy, there's no stargazing to be done, is there a rescheduled date, or is it?
We can move the event inside at the library. We can, he can do a presentation, but we don't have a rain date for the actual stargazing. And then for children's programs for the rest of the summer reading program, on Tuesday, July 16th at 1 p.m., we'll be doing a constellation craft where teens can use bleach pens to make a constellation on a dark colored t-shirt. That's for teens ages 12 to 18. Registration is required, and they should bring their own dark colored shirt. We'll be doing lunar phases learning about the phases of the moon using Oreos as our moon models. We have 2 dates for that, ages 10 to 13 on Wednesday, July 17th at 2 p.m., and ages 5 to 9 on Thursday, July 18th at 11 a.m. And registration is required for both of those events. On Friday, July 19th at 2 p.m., we'll be watching a space-themed kids movie at the library. And so kids can come, we'll have free popcorn and drinks, and they can enjoy that movie. On Tuesday, July 23rd, from 1 to 3 p.m., we'll be doing a game day in the children's room, so people can stop in as their schedule allows and play some space-themed games. On Wednesday, July 24th at 1 p.m., we'll be doing geocaching at Riverside Park with DNR naturalist Scott Kudelka. This program was rained out last year, so we're glad to be able to reschedule it. And you can bring your own GPS device, or the DNR will provide some that can be used on site as well. On Friday, July 26th at 2 p.m., we'll be doing Office Supply USS Enterprise. So those ages 8 to 11 can build a starship from the show Star Trek using office supplies. And then Catherine, our children's librarian, also has little nuts and bolts, so they can do 2 versions. They can do the office supply version or the version with nuts and bolts. And we ask that you register for that program as well. Storytime will continue on Mondays at 10 a.m. and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. through the end of July, before taking a break before the school year starts. And then Lego Club will continue on Thursdays from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. through July as well.
All right. Any questions for April? All right, and if not, then we already had the roofing update. So we'll go to the Brown County Library Board update. Paulina?
Okay, like we mentioned last month, Carl and myself attended the Brown County Library Board meeting in Springfield on June 10th, and Andy Kelton, the library director, and Sleepy Eye submitted all the paperwork to the Brown County Commissioners to be put on their budget agenda in August, and we tentatively think that the date we will receive will be August 19th. I'm not exactly sure what the time will be, so if anyone would like to join us, we would really appreciate it. I can send out an email closer to when we find out. We haven't heard what date or time will be, but he assumes it'll be August 19th, which is a Monday, I believe.
All right. Now we'll move on to the action items. We got a few of them here. The first one is Resolution 2019-18, the second reading and approving of the updates to the programming policy. The library's policy relating to programming was adopted in 2002. Best practice is to review library policies on a 3-year cycle. Attached is a copy of the updated policy with deleted material and added material noted. These changes are recommended by the library director and the assistant library director and have been approved by the city attorney. The major changes are as follows: the addition of the library's mission statement to the first paragraph, and the clarification of the library's sponsorship of programs. A policy update will be implemented upon approval and will go into effect immediately. I can certainly read through the policy if we want. Otherwise, I'll just take a motion to waive the reading.
I make a motion to waive the reading.
Okay, so I have a motion. Do I have a second to waive the reading?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so we'll waive the reading of that one. And then I'll entertain a motion for approving the updates to the programming policy. I have a motion to approve the updates.
I motion to approve the update.
Do I have a
sorry.
second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the updates to the programming policy. Is there any further discussion?
Since we didn't read it, this doesn't appear to be anything major at all. So,
No. All right, and I will, all in favor of approving the updates to the program policy, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Next resolution item is 2019-19, second reading and approval of updates to the Wi-Fi hotspot policy. The library has 3 Wi-Fi hotspots that are available for checkout to patrons. The library director recommends that Wi-Fi hotspots can be placed on a hold list as other materials in the library, omitting verbiage from the policy that they cannot be reserved. This will enable more patrons to gain access to the hotspots to use. The policy and user agreement have been reviewed by the city attorney, and his suggestion regarding web usage and data access have been incorporated into the documents. Policy update will be implemented upon approval and will go into effect immediately. And then the Wi-Fi hotspot policy is printed there. So I don't know if we have any issues with that one.
I have one question in regards to if you put a hotspot on hold and it goes on to the shelf because it's been put on hold, how long are you going to hold it for?
We were discussing that, and usually books, I believe, are about 10
10
days.
days.
We were thinking about 2 to 3. I mean,
Okay.
a patron usually gets a notification right away when an item is checked in and put on.
Yep.
So to kind of squeeze that down a little bit, we were looking at 2 to 3 days.
You'd hate
At
for it to
most.
be immobile if there is
Right,
a
another
waiting
person,
list
right.
kind of thing too.
Yeah.
Does that need to be in here, in verbiage in here, or is that just something that needs to be in standard for
I think it
your
should just,
standards?
yeah, just a procedure. I think it doesn't need to be
Procedural.
in the policy, yeah.
Yeah, we looked at our circulation policy for the books
Okay.
and other
And that's-
materials, and it's
It's not
not
in
in
there.
that policy.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and I think there should be a change on the part that we just read here where it says the library director recommends that the Wi-Fi hotspots can be placed on a hold list as other materials, library omitting verbiage from the policy that they cannot be reserved. So that's basically saying they can be reserved, but they can't be renewed, correct? Is that
Yes,
what's the
yeah,
policy?
yeah, that's our policy on them anyway. Yeah, they cannot be renewed, yeah.
Okay. At least, well, probably not renewed immediately, right? They can go back and.
They can go back
into
in
the
and put
queue.
themselves on the reserve list again.
All right,
And the way our reserve list works, you can't be on it twice. So someone will have to check it in, and then they can go back on the list to just, that's the way Sierra works.
Somebody can't, yeah, in other words, you're saying somebody can't get it twice in a row?
Right, no.
Okay.
This will be interesting to see how this goes.
Yes,
To
yes,
see if it
will.
makes a
Mhm.
difference in regards to the number of individuals who get to use the Wi-Fi.
Yes, I think it'll expand it.
Hopefully, yeah.
Beyond some of the regulars we
Yep.
get, yeah.
yeah. Because I think in the past, we discussed that there was kind of a loophole where one family member would return it, and then the next family member would take it out right behind them.
We've seen that too with just even, I think acquaintances and stuff. It's not always a family, but there's
Okay.
definitely some communication going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so then, is there any other questions or concerns? Then I will entertain a motion to approve the updates to the Wi-Fi hotspot policy.
I'll make a motion.
I second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'd like an update in maybe a month or maybe in September, just to kind of see where we're at with it, to kind of
Good
keep
idea.
follow of it. I think it's an interesting thing because it's that whole technology piece that we're starting to expand into, and we need to have a good understanding of whether or not it's working.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to, the policy is to make it more available to a wider group of people and not have it kind of so focused on a niche kind of thing.
Right.
And I do have a question there too. If I know I need one in a couple months, can I come down and give you a day that I need it, October 1st through the 5th?
the way this would work, no, we would not be able to. Maybe your name would fall in that week, but I don't believe, does Sierra have that?
Sierra allows you to say that you don't want a hold before a certain date,
Yeah.
and Sierra is the computer program we use for this. It allows you to say that you don't want to hold before a certain date, but there's no guarantee that once your hold is triggered, that it would necessarily come to you at that point. Your spot in that line is kind of reserved. You wouldn't jump to the bottom necessarily. But if they're all checked out and they just all got checked out that day, well, then those people still have that week with the hot spot.
Okay,
So, but if somebody, if they're all reserved, like, say, September 30th, and then this one comes in October 1st, does that go into the,
It would
falls into the queue then?
It would just go to the next person in line. So say, Dave was 7 in line, but his date didn't come up yet, then he would still just keep dropping down in line until it was his date, and then he'd kind of pick up. I'm not sure.
But he wouldn't jump to the top, though,
No.
because his date was there, no cutting in line kind of thing. Okay.
How long are people waiting for hot spots generally?
Well, it depends. We have people who they'll turn in a hotspot, and then we have a 24-hour waiting period, so they can't check it out on that same card right away. And they'll be calling just as soon as that 24-hour waiting period is up. So it depends on how persistent they are in calling and then being able to come right down and get that hotspot if one is available. I would say probably not more than a week if they're persistent right now, but for those who are not able to be that persistent, it's probably longer.
And then in terms of the visibility of patrons knowing that hotspots are available, is that like on the website and such that, because maybe not everyone knows that the library loans out hotspots.
We do have advertising posted in the library, and it's in some of the information on the website as far as like our fines and fees and stuff, but I'm not sure that we've promoted it as a kind of a separate service.
I know we've had some library columns, I believe, that have mentioned it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then,
Right, just as long as it's not kind of a hidden kind of thing
Right,
where
yeah.
you have to know about it to,
right.
okay. All right, any other questions or discussion? All right, so I have a motion and a second to approve the updates to the Wi-Fi hotspot policy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. All right, the next item is the approving the bid for the window cleaning. And that's resolution 2019-20. Library director requested bids from window cleaners to complete washing windows for the exterior and interior of the library. Due to the height of the windows, they have not been cleaned in a number of years. The library board approved Clearview NU's bid to clean both interior and exterior windows for a total of $700 at this June 13th meeting, contingent on them having bonding insurance. And it shows what the bid was, where if they would just do interior only, it'd be $300, exterior only $480. But if we did both at the same time, we get a little bit of a discount, with the total being $700. We found out that Clearview NU is not bonded. They have done work for Brown County, and the finance director considers window cleaning as maintenance, and the city requires bonding for building projects and not for maintenance projects. So bonding is based on their interpretation of this being a maintenance project, not a building project, that bonding is not required. Carl was the one that raised the issue on this, and he's not here at this meeting, so I don't have a problem with utilizing Clearview NU with the fact that they're not bonded, but there are some concerns with, because of the height at which they need to go to should something happen, you know, what's the liability, issues. So I don't know if we need to, have further discussion on this, or if we should proceed on voting on this and just see what happens.
It's, I think this is one of those common sense type deals. If you're ordering from a company that's gonna come and do this, they've been doing this, I think that's fine. If Dave and I all of a sudden decide that we wanna go clean windows, and we come up, then I would say that would be a concern.
Okay?
I don't know if you guys agree with that or not. I mean, because now all of a sudden we come up there, well, what kind of ladder are we gonna put up there? Blah, blah, you know,
Yeah, who's gonna hold the ladder, who's going up, that kind of thing?
going up, that's right.
So this is, they're in this business, so you would think that they would, they're professionals, whereas you guys would be considered rank amateurs.
That's correct. And then plus, the city is already saying that we don't need this
Right.
on a maintenance item. So,
Hey, anybody else have any opinions one way or the other then?
Dave, you were gonna do most of the work anyway.
Dave would be, Martinka would be the one holding the ladder. Hopefully he's paying attention. All right then, so we've had a little bit of discussion then, so I will then, based on that discussion and the fact that we've determined that bonding is not required on a maintenance project such as this, so I will entertain a motion for approving the bid for window cleaning for Clearview NU for the total of $700 for both cleaning the interior and exterior windows.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I,
Yeah, good teamwork.
any further discussion? All right, hearing none, then so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried.
Quick question, do we have any idea when they'll get this done?
I think I actually he left me a message, and he was available like within 2 weeks after the last
Okay.
meeting. So I think he's kind of open at the
Okay,
moment.
hopefully.
Or yeah, he said he was
Within a
down
couple
here.
weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just update, when was the last time that we're done? It was quite a while ago. I know. Do we have any idea?
I talked to Jay about it, and he mentioned the ones in the children's area that are so high. He thinks it must be like more than 10 or so years. He hasn't done it since he's been there.
Okay.
Oh, hopefully they won't be scraping dirt off of their
We hope
windows, they'll be
not,
cleaning it
yeah.
off.
We might have to find some treasures we don't know.
All right, and then the last resolution we have is 2019-21, approving the preliminary 2020 budget. So I tried opening and I got an error message, cannot open that page. See if I can try it again. Yeah, it says
Mine
Safari
went to sleep
cannot.
for a little bit, yeah.
What's that?
Alright.
Mine went to sleep earlier, maybe if you wanted to restart it.
Can anybody open the page?
I have it,
Got
I
it.
actually have it open now.
Okay, so if one of you guys said, oh, I can read it. Here. All right, approving the 2020 preliminary library budget. The attached 2019 preliminary library budget was prepared by the library director for required submission by July 26, 2019 to the finance director. Note that the city council has set a meeting with the city manager, finance director, and department heads for August 21st to discuss the overall city budget. The library director will keep the library board informed about decisions affecting the library. The library director has estimated revenue under the categories of charges for services and fines and fees based on previous actual revenue and revenue generated so far in 2019. Based on those figures, no adjustments have been made to charges for services. Fines and fees has been reduced by $3,500 to become fine-free in 2020. And I should point out that's for books only, right? It's not for
Yes.
everything.
Mhm.
The library director has assumed revenue from the Brown County Board of Commissioners will be increased by $5,000 to cover the cost of overdrive for Brown County, which is the recommended increase that the Brown County Library Board plans to request at its August meeting. If approved, there would not be an increase to the total Brown County contribution each library receives. The additional $5,000 would go into a separate account from which the increased overdrive fee would be paid by the Brown County Library Board. If there is no increase from Brown County, monies that have been allocated in the book and AV budget to cover the increase for New Ulm. The vast majority of revenue comes from taxes general, which will be entered by the City Finance Department and approved by the City Council. One expense increase over which the Library Board has control is in cataloging and processing. This is the annual contract for services from Traverse to Sioux Library Cooperative, which is based on a formula that includes all TDS member libraries. New Ulm is being assessed 3.78% or $1,216.18 increase for services in 2020. The library director also recommending increases in the audio-visual supplies, $3,000, books, $3,000, computer supplies and equipment, $500, communications, $200, travel conferences and schools, $200, contractual maintenance building, $3,000, contractual maintenance books, $300, and subscriptions and memberships, $500. The library's primary expenses in personal services, which includes salaries and insurance, and these line items ultimately are set by the Finance Department. The Finance Director has indicated a 2.14% decrease in salaries, regular, a 5.3% decrease in salaries part-time seasonal, and a 19.23% decrease in insurance group medical should be assumed. The library director has budgeted $15,000 in library interior renovation for carpeting replacement in the main library. The revenue to cover this expense would come out of the library's fund balance. Therefore, our 2020 preliminary library revenue shows a 0.41% decrease, or $3,500. Our expenses show a 2.28% decrease, or $19,213.82. And then below are the changes from the budget, which shows the, I'm assuming these are just anything that changed, either plus or
Yes.
minus. And as you can, I'm not gonna read through the list of them, but it shows that the total expenditures is the total revenue is a delta of minus 3,500, which was indicated, and the total expenditures was a delta of minus $19,213.82. Only budget codes with changes are included above. And there's also the copy of the preliminary library budget itself, if anyone wanted to take a look at that for further information. So, anything to add to that, Paulina, or?
No, like I mentioned, everything in the expenditures, the first part, like salaries through sewer, is what the finance department oversees, and everything below that is what the library board approves.
Okay.
Is there anything we can do about the increase in electricity? Like light bulbs or?
Yeah, we are slowly, Jay is redoing most of the lights to LED. So we've been on a constant replacement phase of the ones we have to decrease those costs.
And then for the parts, what they mentioned about the decrease in the stuff that's covered by the finance department, how is that being handled? I mean, you guys aren't all getting pay cuts, are you?
No, this is, I talked to the finance director, and she said it's because of all the changes. So we had last year, the library director and the youth services leaving. We also saw some library aides. And if I took a look at the last couple budgets, we actually weren't meeting. There was a rather large
Amount remaining.
yes, thank you, between what was budgeted and what was actually spent
Oh,
on
okay.
salaries. So, I mean,
Okay, so-
yeah.
Okay,
So it
you-
wasn't that somebody's got less hours.
No,
It's just that
no.
it's kind of over.
It was a little bit over budgeted, yep, so we're more of a,
And then from a
lower
head-
number. Yep.
We had some staff on the upper steps of the city
Right.
step scale, and our newer staff are not.
That
No.
makes sense, okay,
Yeah.
so like
Right.
if they retired or quit or whatever and you replace them,
Right.
their salaries are less
Right.
So that might indicate that this might start to increase again.
Right.
in coming years, yep.
Yep.
Okay, and then, so headcount wise, you're at where you need to be then?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, anything else? All right, so then I will entertain a motion to approve the preliminary 2020 budget.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, questions? All right, hearing none, then all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. All right, any other business?
Nope,
Okay.
unless anyone else
Got
has
anything,
any.
April? All right, then we'll move right down to adjournment. All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.